And welcome back, everyone, on the Decod3rs channels. Tonight we have a special guest, a legend, the president of the DeGods project. Sunny, I'm so happy to have you on the channel. Welcome home, bro.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you for reaching out, having me on. Definitely excited to talk everything DeGods and
Exactly.
Web3 overall, right? It's just it's another crazy day in this space. I feel like every day is.
Yeah. And it's crazy because like the comeback is real. It's happening now. Like yeah, like it's a new stage. Like it's back to 2022 vibe stuff.
I mean, yeah, I think it's like it's back to this kind of like 2022 energy. Like definitely want to take from that energy and take from the kind of creative mindset that DeGods was in overall at that time. The community was overall at the time, but definitely going into like 2024 and even into next year. I think it's just like taking from that and really like establishing a culture. But there's so much new stuff to do, and I think it's almost going to be like a 2.0, 3.0 like version of that. And yeah, I mean, all that to really say, it's just I think there's a part of it where it's just like we get really, really caught up on like, yo, these were the good times at DeGods, but it's like, yo, some of our best days might be ahead of us, and if we have that mentality, like, DeGods is going to be better than ever. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where we're really trying to go. Like, we're on this comeback arc, but I think it's really about getting to like the best days of DeGods, and it's like we haven't even seen that yet, and I think that could be super exciting.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to say like we don't know shit, but yeah, like
fucking Mark.
We haven't seen shit yet.
Oh man, yeah, no. See, the thing about Mark is we've been keeping him very much away from everything going on with DeGods. Keeping him at a little bit of distance to where he can't come back with a video saying you don't know shit. Like hey Mark, hype it up a little bit, get the feedback, but we can't have another video. That shit's just so funny how it became a meme. Honestly.
And we love you, Mark. Like, he's a Trojan. He started everything. He started the whole podcast up. So yeah.
Hey, yo, if one thing that we're gonna do for Mark, it's while the you don't know shit went crazy for one of the down periods of DeGods, we have to make it go crazy for the comeback of DeGods.
Exactly.
And that's the rally cry on the way up is you don't know shit, but the numbers going up.
Yeah, exactly. That's the goal. Oh, by the way, everyone in the chat, GM, Alpaya, I'm staying up for this. Yeah, thank you so much. Hanma, GM, Curry, GM, Ramo, GM, everyone, Ugi, everyone in the chat. Let's go. That's what's up. Okay, so bro, maybe people, everyone knows that you're president, right? But like, can you just like explain for the Decod3rs community and like the non-Decod enjoyers what's like the role of president is and like what's your mission there?
Yeah, man. I think I think when the president thing first went live and we kind of saw what the like the job description was or whatever, and it was this aspect of just being like the face of the brand, being able to communicate, and just repping the brand in a way that it's expanding awareness, and we're growing, right? I think that was parts of that. I think the other part of it too was just like it was helpful to have like kind of an extension of the team when like honestly the team was going through some shit internally to very much reestablish the culture and kind of get things right on track. You know what I'm saying? But also, can't fully lead the like community. Obviously, like elephant in the room, like there was that 4 or 5 months of silence, whatever the case may be. I feel like when I came in as that kind of president it was really just to help with whatever communicating I could to the community and whatever I was able to share, things that I could leak. And, a lot of it too was just like, I was kind of, I don't want to say I was talking in code, like in a lot of these podcasts, but there was like little hints that I was just trying to drop where it was just like, shit's going down, but like shit's brewing behind the scenes, you know what I mean? Like as much as I could. And I think that's really where the role was. And for me, I've just kind of taken it and expanded it into a way of being able to lock in partnerships that, you know, benefit the community. We did that like cool AVAX partnership with the arena. Kind of led that from start to finish to be able to get these like badges that essentially, you know, up until this point, DeGods have already gotten an airdrop of some meme coins on that platform. There's a bunch that are kind of making some through the social buy aspect of it, of either tickets or posting on there and getting tips and just connecting with more people in the Web3 space and getting put onto things. And so really what I've kind of turned it into is this, from a higher level, is just this aspect of like partnerships, and partnerships from a standpoint of like the team has a certain level of bandwidth as it pertains to like who they're talking to. Obviously they're doing things like the wormhole airdrop and Pike Finance, but there's all these kind of like little partnerships that can also go a far way for the community. So just being able to field those, I think, is important. And then just continuing with the content, right? Like doing things like this where I can, you know, talk with you. Me and Mark have been doing a podcast for the past couple of weeks.
The weeklies.
Just, you know, continuing to really just elevate the brand, keep awareness up. And, you know, I think even aligning to what Frank says, it's like, you know, when we have this energy of like, we pop into the wormhole Discord 2,000 deep and like all get a badge, and we pop into the Pike Finance Discord and we're popping into the arena and we're popping into these places and just coming through ready to like take over and eager and just like, you know, wanting to be users. That's a lot of what like these protocols and people in Web3 are looking for. And, you know, if we set ourselves apart as just being one of those elite communities that anybody wants to work with, because of the energy that, you know, we bring into it, and kind of shedding some of the, I mean, just shedding some of the BS from the last 6 months. I think there's been BS from both sides, right? Like you from the team side as well as from the community side. I think we could be, you know, pretty honest about that. But it's just like, we don't have to live in that. You know what I'm saying? There's so much more of this project to come ahead, and we could really set ourselves up now. And that's why you're feeling like this energy, right? Like Frank's back on the timeline, leading this energy, leading the charge, get like new holders are joining in. Some of the old holders are starting to change tunes. And, you know, it's really feeling like we are coming up. And part of this is just like establishing ourselves as that community that people want to work with. I think like that's kind of like base level, and it's just like there's so much more where we could take it from there.
Awesome. And like looks like from Bayer, like you're kind of cute. So I guess that was also part of the that was part of the job description too, right? Like
maybe I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, like even with that, right? Like I've been trying to show up to IRL things so often. Like we have like weekly meetups in LA for IRL stuff. Getting like people that aren't holders just access to the brand in a way, right? Like people that don't even have DeGods want to wear DeGods merch, right? They want to be a part of the brand, associated the brand in some sort of way. They like the people in the community that they're connecting with. And I feel like just the more we get at that, it's just like brick by brick, like this culture is being established again. And man, we can run a long way. We can run a long way.
100%. Honestly, like the turn off the switch like effect it's crazy, right? Like nothing for mountain stuff, and then like one big space with Leap and a couple of announcements and warming up the timeline, and then like we're back to 6 months.
You know what's crazy that you mentioned about that switch is like Frank has been telling me literally since like November, December, since we've had talks about presidents and all this sort of stuff. He's like, listen, like, I know this shit is silent right now. Like, I know this shit looks bad to the public. It's just like a lot of the criticism that people give is like Frank like is very aware of like what's going on, but it's like he was essentially telling me, he was like, I know that we can turn this marketing switch on, and I know like
that's cool.
When we need to go grab attention, like we're gonna be able to, even if we aren't like that it project right now, we can like go out, grab attention, get hungry again, and go out and get that spot, you know? But that sacrifice was very much for like all the internal stuff that was going on in terms of just like reestablishing culture internally, getting everybody on the same page. Like, you know, a lot of this is just like even coming off like the launch that was, you know, S3, it's like a lot of things kind of have to be rethought of then at that point, right? And it's like, what's next? Where do you take this project next? And so, you know, while holders may feel like, yo, they were in the dark or they were kind of left to hang or whatever. It's just like, just given the fact that they had that time to you know, restructure and get right, now we're able to get what we're getting now, which is a like rejuvenated Frank on the timeline, shedding the corporate vibes, like fucking like more of the team members talking, doing creative shit, fucking dropping art on a Google Drive, just like randomly on a night, you know what I'm saying? Like just some DeGods shit, right?
Exactly.
Like it's just like that's what that past like 3-4 months of just like internal stuff, like that's how you get to this point, right? It's not, that part is not the flip of the switch. The flip of the switch is just like, all right, now we're in this mode of like, we can go out and grab attention, like we know how to do it. But getting to this point of creativity, it's like it took some time, and you know, like that's how it goes.
Personally, like how did you feel as like as a holders with like this S3 launch and stuff, like before you get like into this president position? But like, I mean, you're like living close to Frank and stuff and the DHQ, right? So like, I know like you meet sometimes and whatever, but like, so you talk more than the average holder. But like, how did you perceive this, like the fact that, yeah, we went from 10 ETH to like 3, below 3, we get farmer, and like we entered this death spiral? Like, yeah, how did you feel you personally with that?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think for me, like my mentality, like within DeGods is, I like, just to give some back context, it's like I minted my DeGod, and literally like day of was just like, I'm gonna make this my PFP and I'm a brand around this PFP. What made me do that? It was literally just like I had minted this one that's like basketball jersey. It's got this fade. Like it felt like my digital identity. And I was like, I don't know, this community is sick as fuck. And like I started connecting with people in the community, and everybody was kind of supportive of each other during that time, like early on crypto Twitter and Solana Twitter. So it's just like you're almost like you're like, while DeGods was figuring themselves out during that first 4 months, it's like the community was active and supporting each other and building each other's platforms up, and you know, getting that dopamine. And it's like even today you still see how that's such an important part of like the attention, right? Even from like that dude that just did the shoey out of the fucking Lamborghini, and it was like right before that, it's like get 1,000 likes and I'm gonna do that and sweep the floor, and it's like done. You know what I'm saying? Like we showed up on Twitter, got the engagement, getting all that dopamine, and it's just like, and so part of that like still exists. And I say all that to say that for me, my time has always been a more long-term thing with DeGods, because it's like from mint, it's like you got to understand, like I also round trip my bag down from where we're at all-time highs on Solana down to the FTX crash. You know what I'm saying? So it's like to ride that back up to then 10 ETH, and then now it's like back down to 3 ETH. Like I've been on this, you know what I'm saying? Like I've been on it. So for me, it's like it doesn't affect me as much because my DeGods thesis is on a much longer like thing. I can understand for traders and for people that like bought the top per se or anything like that, and are just like, fuck, what happened? Like I thought this launch was going to be it. It wasn't it. Like I can empathize with those people, but at the same time, to me, it's like if you have the money to spend 8 ETH on an NFT, like at some point you have to understand that like just as much as it could go up, it could go down. And if you're with it for a longer period of time, like that's on you to figure out like how long you want to be a part of something. Now going back to the question of season 3, keeping all that in mind, for me, it was more so prior to season 3, probably like 2 months prior, when I was doing all that big 3 stuff, and like, you know, I was with the team every weekend, and you know, hosting all those events, meeting a bunch of holders. People were all excited. Frank had come out to one of the weekends in New York, and he was explaining to me Points Parlor, like literally in an Uber while we're on the way to this big 3 event. And he's just talking about like giving away a Tesla out and like able to win dust, and like it, like for most holders, if they were listening to like what I was listening to in that Uber, they would be like, yo, this idea sounds sick as fuck. Like it sounds like really dope. And a lot of the revenue was coming from sponsorships and very much using the marketing and hype to build something. Now, nobody really gives them credit for like being able to raise like damn near $500,000 and just like give it out to the community in like peak bear market through Points Parlor. but it was more so the points parlay FUD. And part of me for like where I thought that FUD came from was just like people just weren't winning enough. And if Dust was at a like obviously a higher price point or whatever, there's more use cases for it, like then I think people would feel like they were winning enough, but they didn't feel like they were winning when they were receiving Dust. And ultimately, I think that was kind of the point that just like it didn't like it wasn't successful. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that was to me like as from outside looking in, to me that's the part that didn't make it successful.
But the fact that when you lose, you get Dust. Like by definition, you're not winning.
Yeah,
you're not winning Dust because when you're losing, you get Dust. So you associate the token to losing shit, right? So it's tricky as fuck.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I think with that, that's why I just didn't feel like people were like winning enough. So it's like it didn't give that feeling of just kind of like a constant dopamine. Whereas like if it was more juiced or it did feel like more prizes were being given out on like a much more rapid pace, like and it was a different market sentiment, like that same product probably would have went crazy. You know what I mean?
Because it's a partnership stuff, right? So like again, you have contribution from other projects. You have like it's a huge thesis. Like for example, on Solana, you have Asset Dash, right? Like where you have your portfolio and you can get like NFT coins, etc. And that's a huge success. Like it's the same vertical. That's why I was kind of bullish on like this partnership. But yeah, like you said, maybe not enough price, not enough partnership, and like Frank said, like maybe 6 months too soon. And should launch that shit now, right?
100%. I mean, like I think the timing matters. I think what it was matters, and just like sentiment matters. Obviously, like where the sentiment of the community is, and I think all of that just like played a factor, right? I think from a standpoint of just like the floor price going down, right? I think we had hit like maybe like 5, 6, and then we got like a huge dump off that really like nuked us down, right? And it's just like you can't plan for those types of moments, but at the same time, like you have to be able to withstand them in some sort of way. And it's like we're still climbing back from that, but you know, like that's like from a data perspective. One thing I'll always say is like when just like you know being around Frank and just like understanding the way that some of those decisions are made, like he's super data driven, and it's just like data points that he's like shared with me when making certain decisions, like when they were like literally like 80% volume on Solana, and it's just like that bridge to Ethereum wasn't just about like because Solana went down. Obviously that didn't help in any sort of way, but it was also kind of like, yo, we've kind of maxed out the amount of like buyers that we have right here currently, right? And I think it makes sense to want to go explore. And it's like, yeah, you could say it's for liquidity, but it's also for new buyers. Like, yeah, that's kind of the same, not fully if you're actually looking for new people to join and contribute and be a part of this network and like this kind of ever-growing network, right? But it's just like super data driven, right? And so like that's why it's like when these decisions are made, it's not made like completely with haste as much as it may feel, because like my guy will just put out a tweet and just be like, yo, so bridge, like we out of here, like let's just omni-chain, you know what I'm saying? And like that's also the balance that I just like I fuck with, you know what I'm saying? It's just like we just did all this work to make this decision and you just send it off with a tweet. Put it off with a Google Drive, like
we wait for buyer to reply and then decide if we bridge or not.
It's anti-corporate, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
No, corporate be like, we got to put this through PR. We got to fucking put this whole like 3-thread shit together. Frank's just like, I'm sending y'all one tweet, Google Drive, DeGods V.11 out. Like, let's run it.
Yeah, exactly. But like, even with everything that happened, like floor price, whatever, and nuking like the floor price, etc., I still think like bridging to ETH was the right decision at that time anyway, because like you said, you have like 90% of a market. That's even like when you are in that kind of position that you try to grow. Like, 100%. No, like, and you don't do it before, right? Like, it doesn't make sense to bridge when you have like you are like 5,000 volume on Solana Magic Eden, but like when you have like 90% of the market for 6 months, then it makes sense to try something else.
Literally, I mean, they were dominating the chain. You know what I'm saying? And to me, them bridging like was the best possible case for both markets, right?
Yeah.
Because we got to see a lot of dope Solana projects get more shine and more recognition, because there was a certain aspect of just like, you know, it wasn't even just that they were capturing the volume on the chain, but they were capturing so much attention as well. You know, and that's not coming from a place of just like, oh, cockiness or whatever. It's just like it is what it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think moving to ETH, it was more so like, you know, the tweets obviously weren't good, and like how it was communicated and how he left, like, get it, right? And you know, he said this, I've said this, a bunch of people have said this, but for me as a holder and just as someone even that still to the like never left Solana, never left the ecosystem in terms of you know, doing things on there, right? To me, it's just like there is a level of grace that I extend from the simple standpoint of just like, well, for him, like he's had people round trip their bags from like, we're talking USD, like 30K USD down to like the lowest, which was like 1.2, 1.5, like crazy, right? And so like how many people in the community are probably coming at him, and at the same time, so many community members were calling for this bridge too. And I think when you think about like what happened like on the lead up to the bridge, hitting 1,000 SOL all-time high right before the bridge, and then when you go to ETH, we ended up running back up to what, about 10, 11, 12 ETH, somewhere around there at like at peak, and we were pretty stable at 10 ETH for a while. Like for the first 9 months of last year, like it's not that like we were actually up based off of the FTX crash. You know, like there were so many people that I met that bought through the FTX crash that were up after like before we bridged to ETH, after we bridged to ETH, people that took profits on 1,000 SOL, like they're up. Like if you kept that SOL, like you're up crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like so many different trades could have been happened, but you know, I think that first like 9 months of the year always gets just like thrown out because like what S3 and what the nuke and like how we've been trying to come back from that. But like there was a lot going on in that first, you know, first part of the year from an event standpoint, community standpoint, networking, price going up, like people that we were working with, all that, right? Got some great moments, right? Obviously NFT Paris where the worm was, like we did like
was cool.
Pre-season, like things were like I mean, it was dope. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a dope like first half of the year, and obviously, you know, you don't want to finish off the year with how it did. But to me, I'm more bullish on that than anything because I mean, all NFT projects at some point are going to go through some sort of churn, people leaving, culture needing to be reestablished, new people coming in, like. And just sustainability, right? And just like, how do we keep things fresh? How do we keep things new? And how do we keep like yourself at the top? Because that top spot is not guaranteed. Like, look what we just saw with Pudgy flipping Bored Ape, right?
That's
it's
crazy.
Like, to me, I don't celebrate flips that much. I never talk about it, but I think what that does is that it very much signifies like we're going into this kind of like newer part of the NFT market. Because now like possibilities seem a little bit more endless now, right? Like Bored Apes was always just seen as that top spot, and now it's like your top spot isn't guaranteed. Just the way DeGods went down, just the way Pudgy Penguins went up, just the way Bored Apes got flipped, it's like your top spot in this space for a long period of time is not guaranteed. And so the ones that are constantly just like trying shit and doing stuff and adapting with the market are going to be the ones that win and continue to be successful, I think.
Which is even sadder because at the time of like S3, like 1 week or 2 weeks before like Azuki launched Elementals and like massive crash the market because same art, and like we had a gigantic door like to just run to 20 ETH, right? It's so sad, but it is what it is, right? It's the past. And now let's talk about what's coming up when the future of like, okay, so let's get back just to this like Web2 corporate stuff, right? Like basically DeGod became like Facebook, and all of the cool kids were using TikTok, and so like we get less fun for like the reason like this corporate like raising money, then you have to answer to your investors, and like the whole new Web2 corporate mindset. So do you see any alignment where like company can scale, and even for Bored Ape, right? It even works for Bored Ape because like, okay, so you're at Degen and you do like Ape Fest and stuff, and then you try something even a bit like more corporate, even like the way you communicate on Twitter, etc., change because legal issues, whatever. Just is Web3 just for Degens?
I think that like the degen like phrasing and part of it, right? Like, there's so much like there's obviously like I feel like all of us here have like this aspect of like this inner degenerate, right? Where it's just like, you know, you take risks. Like we're here because we take risks. We're into new technology. Like we're open-minded. Like we're down to fuck around and find out. And I think that's why a lot of us are even just in crypto in the first place. You know what I'm saying? And so I think there is kind of this like innate kind of like degeneracy a little bit because like, yeah, we are going to go throw one soul on a shit coin to see if it fucking 1000x's, or we are going to go like stealth mint something that like we may not even know what the hell it means, but like we're going to do it just because like the feel and the fun of it and like figuring things out, right? And so I think there's always like that kind of aspect. Obviously, you have like professionals, you got people with families, you have people from literally all walks of life. And it's like, it's not like you're just like a degenerate, like 24/7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think crypto I think the one thing about crypto that like even me personally that I really like is I feel like a lot more people are more of their like authentic selves.
Yes,
and like even the people that like shit post and kind of like play characters like on Twitter in the sense that like they'll say things that they may not necessarily mean or just to like stir up some drama, whatever. I think to a certain degree, like there is like an authentic self for that, right? Because it's just like maybe like that's how, you know, you enjoy spending your time, or like that's the type of energy you want to put out in the world or whatever it is, right? And so I think there's like this kind of innate, almost like people are more authentically themselves, and there's almost like more ways to just kind of create your own lane within crypto. And I think those two things lend to a very kind of like anti-corporate type of vibe. And I don't think anti-corporate is necessarily a bad thing, and it doesn't mean you can't scale and work with businesses or, you know, do like cool drops or like partner with, you know, big companies doing things, right? But you even look like something like a Barstool Sports, where it's like they're pretty degenerate like media company, but they have like other facets of their company that like is a little bit more elevated. They have different types of content. They reach a bunch of different audiences, and they work with, you know, big corporations and whatnot. But they have that kind of energy about it. And I think there's like some similarities there with just like what we do and like as DeGods. And then I think just like similarities within crypto overall, where, you know, people can very much kind of like you can't necessarily create your own lanes like this or be fully authentically yourself sometimes in a corporate structure, because there's like those games that you have to play and there's like certain way to do things.
I don't want that, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
I want to get there.
And I think part of it too is like we do have a lot of professionals, like we do have a lot of people that have day jobs and work with these various companies. And when they come into crypto and when they come into Web3, it's like, bro, you want to have some fun. Like you don't want to have like, oh, I gotta talk all formal and like do all this shit. It's just like, bro, we curse, we like on our mind, like we just talk like homies, like we kick it, and like that's just, you get more people in a comfortable, more authentically themselves. And I think that's more like what the anti-corporate type of vibe means than anything else. It's not to say it's just like, yo, fuck the corporations, but it's just like, yo, when we're in this space, like I'm just being me. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
You feel me? Like I don't have to completely do the games and the bullshit.
Yeah. Honestly, like the first time I met like fellow Decod holders was at NFT Paris last year, and like it was the best feeling ever to finally meet someone from the internet for the first time after like 2 years of talking with each other and stuff like that. And even like some guys like just told me like that their girlfriends told them that we never met before that event, but like we were talking like we were like best friends for 10 years.
Yeah.
And that feeling is like, yeah, like even like the way I felt like the whole event and stuff, like it's priceless. Like it's worth like your asset at 10,000, 20,000 or $500, whatever. It's amazing. And that's why like this community and this Web3 industry, like personally, I don't see myself like doing anything else in my life just because of that special feeling. Like you have the feeling that you are in something special. And at the end of the day, you're just trading JPEGs with internet magic money, right? But like, it's way stronger than that in a way. And like, if you start to have like, I can talk about XYZ because my lawyer is not gonna be happy. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like if they're gonna if Bored Ape is not getting regulated tomorrow, your like $1,000 market cap NFT project is safe, bro. So just like, do something. Talk to me. I want to know.
No, I mean, absolutely. Like, honestly, it's so funny that you mentioned that, like, specifically that 10 years thing, because like I've said the same thing multiple times when I met JB actually for the first time. It was on the Magic Eden yacht party at NFT NYC back in 2022, right? This was like, that NFT NYC felt like Solana's like, rise to fame at NFT NYC, because the one prior to that was like super ETH dominant. And it's like Solana showed up, you know what I mean? And so I remember meeting JB because JB was actually one of the first people I'd ever connected with, like in DeGods, when, kind of like literally a month after mint, and like he was crazy on the timeline, and we was like, just like, I don't know, we just vibed, and I'll never forget when I met him, we fucking dapped, and like the handshake that we had, it was just like one of them like just like clicks where it was like, all right, like we literally dapped up like we had known each other for like a decade. We've been homies for hella long. And like that type of shit is like, you can't fake it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't fake it. You can't and it's almost funny because I could be on some like, you can't buy it, but it's almost like if you're a part of these cultures and you're part of these communities, to a certain degree, you can. But I would only say that from a subjective angle, is like there is parts of you that just has to like give as well. Like, it's not just going to come with you. Like, you very much have to make an effort when you own one of these NFTs to connect with the community, go to IRL events, be in people's messages, have conversations, reply to people, support, engage. Like, it's on you to do those things. And it's like, if you do that, I promise you, like, if you truly want to build like a network in this space, and you just potentially like even just want to make friends, whatever, it's literally just doing those things and utilizing whatever NFT that you have to be able to do that, right? But yeah, man, I think like even just going back to what you said about like going to IRL and going to NFT Paris, like I'm such a proponent of like IRL like events and just like making the effort to go when you can, where you can, even if it's small meetups, just like in your city, and
it's even better when small
people that are in space. Like I really urge everybody get out of their comfort zone to the reason that it's just like, bro, being able to talk about this like in person is different than talking about it on Twitter, like bar none. It's just different. You like people's insights and connections. It's just different, right? The energy just hits different. If you go to some of these like conferences and whatever, it's like, and you can vibe with people and connect like in person, and you have a platform on Twitter, like those two things are just going to complement you. You're going to have opportunities thrown your way. You're going to like be able to just meet really, really cool people, and just have really dope conversations, and probably walk away learning about some shit that you didn't even know about, because the space is actually bigger than we think. And some of us just pay attention to certain things, but it's like there's so many things going on, and you could always learn from somebody, talking to somebody in this space. So yeah, like anybody that hasn't made it out to an IRL event yet, like I could not recommend anything more than just like getting out of your comfort zone and going and meeting some people IRL.
And I will send you a DeGod so you can go to a DeGod party.
Hey yo.
Okay, maybe. We need an escrow. We need an escrow in the middle, though. But yeah, like it's which crazy, and like you don't see like in any other project kind of. It's like the community is like basically in the middle of like the whole DeGods vibes and like Dust Labs use vibe stuff. But in the like, if it was someone else who who talked the way like Frank is doing in another project, I would not really be part of it the same way, right? Like it's kind of tricky. Okay, so with everything that Frank said about like the comeback and the fact that we're back to Degen vibes and stuff, we thought like saying, I went on Discord when he was sharing like, okay, so we're gonna figure out like what the direction and stuff, and we're going to build around the community. Like if you take that aspect of it, without a strong leadership, and say, okay, now the community will we're gonna build based on the feedback of the community. Bro, I don't want to be part of that, because it means like the team leadership doesn't know where to go, and it's on the community to defend their bag in a way and build the stuff that they want to see themselves, right? But like the fact that it's Frank execution and he has this growth mindset and like understanding of the industry, then it makes sense, right? And which is tricky, because like it does like it's kind of like my antithesis of project, because if it was not them, I will not. It's tricky as fuck, because I like builders, like for example, like Blocksmith Labs. I understand those projects, right? Because they are building utilities and stuff, but then you have like the whole. I have a utility, then I have a price assigned to that. I have my ROI, etc. So you lose the speculation aspect of it, and like Dust Lab is like a speculation machine, kind of, which basically took to number one. But like it's so tricky, but it makes sense if it's coming from Frank, and that's phenomenal. Like all of his pushing right now. It's validating like the whole concept of this growth machine stuff in a way. It's like so abstract, but the way he's selling that, it's incredible. It's cool.
Yeah. No, I mean, you have to keep some speculation and subjectiveness to the project, right? I think that's a must, right? Like, art is obviously subjective, and people really care about DeGods art, like to a level of like just the art part of it, and people enjoy the different traits and everything like that, right? I think there's also, if the community is really strong and you're able to get certain rewards on a longer term basis, and you're going to continue to just be like really great partners to people in the space, I think that's a very subjective thing too, where it's like you're just speculating on like, damn, like how many rewards can we get? How many people are we going to be working with? There's going to be new technology, like, as the months and the years go on and so on, right? And so I think you keep that kind of subjective and speculation, and there's aspects too of just like figuring out certain utilities, right? I think honestly, DID is going to be a really, really, really cool.
It's one of the best products, bro. Like the DID is massive.
Products, and it's kind of going under the radar a little bit, just because like they're still working on.
People don't get it. Yeah, they don't get it
like that, but they're going to be doing some really, really cool things with that, and I think all of that is it's going to tie in, and it's going to kind of figure it out. But to your point, right? It's like I think Frank just has a track record at this point where it's like you can trust to a certain degree, and there's an aspect of you can't, like maybe the project is not for you, but the man does have a track record, and he is like working hard to have one of the best projects every day. Like you can see the work ethic and just see how he just continues to like dedicate himself to the project itself. And like honestly, that's what you want out of a founder, someone that's dedicated to the project. And
I think that's what that's important, like the way you say it, like so like you can have it on, like you can agree or not of like the meta that your founder want to push with your collection, and then decide if it's for you or not. So again, for example, like if you like the FFF tools, you can buy a Fox and it's gonna be cool. But like and Smith, etc., same thing if you like builders. But with like the Dust Labs assets, like the fact that Frank is taking this like a growth machine meta and like basically make it like the best thing possible, that's part of the value, like communities value stuff, right? Like you can be with it or against it, but you make your choice. And that's the difference between projects that trying to figure it out what the fuck they are doing, but they don't have identity, they don't have like the direction and stuff. But even like if the direction is not defined by utility, you know what Dust Lab is about. And okay, D Labs now.
Yeah.
And yeah. And that's where the difference is. Like they know they want to go to top one no matter what, and the path is unclear, but that's the goal. That's the North Star of D Labs, basically, which is bullish, bro.
Yeah, no, I mean 100%. And I think, I mean, in this NFT space, like literally so much of it is attention based. And if you're able to, gain attention and make people care about your brand, your product, whatever it is you're building, then you're going to be successful, right? And I think DeGods has had a track record of being able to do that. And I think they're going to be able to get back to that. I think right now, it's like obviously the comeback in that. But yeah, man, I mean, and it helps too, right? Like you talking about the community aspect, it's like it helps when the community is hyped for these things, is showing up for these things, because it gives more leverage to the team, right? So it's like it is this kind of like symbiotic relationship of like, if the community is staying with a positive sentiment, high sentiment, showing up for these things, and being a part of it, using these different technologies, then DeGods, and like when they're taking calls, they have way more leverage to get more things, ask for more, be valued higher, right? And I think that's where it kind of it plays a role, and it's just like things that the community wants and things like that. It's like it'll inspire the team as well. I remember super early on, right, when it was that like first 4 months, 5 months of DeGods where they were trying to figure things out, it's like the community was still super strong. They were calling for things. Everybody had ideas. And the team ended up like coming up with some stuff. That's when they came out with Dust. That's when they came out with Dusties and did another DeGods week, DeGods3rs, all this sort of stuff. And it's just like none of those ideas necessarily like came from the community, but through all the ideating and through hearing feedback and understanding like where people are at and kind of like the root of what people want. I think that's where like those ideas come from, right? Because like someone can say something, but it's like really like the underneath part of it or the agenda part of it is like something else, right? Like someone could say it's like, yeah, we want to stake for points, like, and really it's rooted in like, yo, I just want something that like keeps like the NFTs off the marketplace so our floor can go up, right? And it's like that's what you're really trying to get at, but you're like just recommending that it's like you're going to be able to do that through like staking, or you're going to be able to do that through like this other thing, right? But I think like saying those ideas, it's like, as a team or whoever, it's like you can infer on, it's like, all right, what are they really, really looking for? And maybe it's like, maybe we can accomplish that, but like not by doing staking, but by doing something else. And so I think that's where the relationship really plays well, kind of bouncing off of the team and the community as we keep pushing forward.
It's like I don't like red, but why do you like red? It's because it gives you like, I don't know, I could say it or whatever. So okay, let's give you blue. Let's give you a blue button. Yeah, that's exactly that, right? Like, and that's understanding is like, it's kind of tricky to really get it, but execute it, it's even harder. But like that's why like this team is able to execute on it, and that's why it's still bullish, bro. But also like it's like, it's a personal thesis that I have, like in Web3, kind of like the goal is to stay in your echo chamber because you amplify like your message inside your community, and from the outside, people want to be part of your like community, so they're gonna join. But like and then you grow like that, right? Instead of bridging the gap with Web2, whatever. I don't know what I mean. Like, I think it's on the user/holders to make an effort to understand how it works inside and then be part of it or not. Cool. But like the effort is more on that part and it's completely an antithesis of everything that you have to do in Web 2, right? Like you want to launch a business in Web 2, you want to attract like all of the kids from 5 to 13 when you launch a social media, whatever, like you grow like that. But in Web 3, the fact that you have a community that it's like has strong values, again, you accept them or not, but like, yeah, if it's on you to make the work to get inside to it, like it's kind of tricky to explain because it's against the growth mindset in a way, right? But like, because yeah, you're not opening to the world, you're like nurturing a sense of community inside, which is kind of cool too. I like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think there's an aspect of like within Web3 itself, you want to have like you obviously want to be able to sustain from the inside and have exclusivity for people on the inside, and they're getting certain things and access to certain things. And from the outside, I think there's a way of people wanting to just kind of be associated to the brand, even from a secondary. Like I don't hold the NFT, but I want to wear merch, or I like the DeGod. I like various DeGods, and I connect with them often. Or I just like the brand, and maybe a goal of mine is to one day own the NFT, like if the time comes, whatever. It's like you want those people as part of like secondary funnel. And I get what you mean as far as just like like bridging the gap between like Web 2 and Web 3. Like if they come into the space, then we'd want you to check out DeGods, especially if you have the the ability to purchase one and want to spend that much. You know what I'm saying? Like all these assets like are vary in prices, and so it's like how much you want to spend on one. And so someone coming into Web 2, like of course we want them to take a look, but I think that's like a very like tier 3, tier 4 type of funnel. It's not necessarily something that's like priority. But I think like within the space, it's like you very much want to sustain and keep the ones that are holders and give them a reason to continue holding and want to be a part of this. But I think there is a secondary of kind of always wanting the people that are tier 2 that are like hoping to get in one day, but also just really fuck with support with the brand. They want to come to events, they want to meet people IRL, they want to wear merch, they want to go to golf events and play golf and whatever that looks like. I think we want to have some sort of inclusivity to that angle, be collaborative and be able to welcome in other people, and then have exclusivity from obviously within the inside, right? And it's always nice to like get both perspectives as well.
But like, okay, so like the friction to onboard that Web 2 normies to Web 3, like if you don't make the effort like to understand how it works, like it's impossible. And again, like for example, like who's buying a OKBS t-shirt in Zara and are going to trade NFTs on Magic Eden the week after, right? Like I understand that, for example, for Pudgy Penguins, like they launch on Walmart, and like the tweet announcing Pudgy Penguin collaboration is the biggest Walmart US tweet they had ever. Like it's millions of impressions and shit like that. So like the thesis will be like, okay, so we are going to create like a toys company, but based on this Web3 community that we have, where like they are nosy as fuck on Twitter, then we can amplify 10x like the impression that we can have in this Web2 world, because like 10 Degens retweet Walmart's US, right? And that makes sense, but it's gonna work only for Pudgy Penguins, and like like it's gonna work for one project. Not like, if we turn all Web3 companies into Web2 stuff. I don't know. Like, it doesn't make sense. But
no, I mean, I get you. I don't think everything needs to turn into that. I do think Pudgy Penguins is in a lane of their own, and being able to communicate that is not easy in any way, shape, or form.
Bro, the level of execution, man, like they required to pull up what they did, massive.
Working, like having, like knowing certain things, like it's not going to be something that's easily duplicated by no means. But I do think we have other projects that are kind of creating their own lanes, right? Like you have DeCod3rs that's like bootstrapping this like media gaming company with their IP. And I think that's super cool, right? Whether that turns into like a show, they got game out. And I think more so the thing with that and Web 2 is like, they're making it a little bit frictionless for like people to get involved by just giving them even like the for the pudgy toys, for example, right? It's like you scan it, you get like a free trait potentially, and you kind of get into the pudgy world. Like it's making them getting into Web3 and owning an NFT a little bit frictionless as far as their like just entry into the world. And like different from like maybe like the t-shirt and like going on to Magic Eden. But I think there's a lot of just like even from an IP and branding standpoint that like for a lot of it does make sense, right?
Yeah.
And if your goal is to just be seen by more people, it's like, there is a level of this kind of psychological thing where it's like the people in your community are going to get even more hyped when they see people outside of the community hyped about your community.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so like I think like that's what a lot of those partnerships, whether it be the Zara, the Walmart, or whatever, I think that's what they do. Then it's not necessarily always going to maybe lead into an NFT sale or anything like that, but it does lead to an increase of value of the brand and the IP. Then like the people that are a part of it, or even the people that are like in the space kind of on the sideline and they're seeing that, it's like they are seeing certain prices as maybe opportunities for accumulation now, because they are seeing like, hey, like this IP actually might be more valuable. And I think, to your point, it's like everybody's going to have a different lane. I don't think everybody even necessarily needs to focus on like how that bridge of the gap works. And, some people are going to be like primarily Web3 and focused on like what's going on here. And as our pod just starts to grow, like people are going to pay attention to what's going on. But it's really on like every project to just figure out like what works best for them and what just aligns with whatever culture and vision that they're trying to push forward. And for those projects, I think they're doing it in their way that definitely aligns with their culture.
Bro, you know what would be cool is like DeGods put like a growth machine in place. And so basically, if you have a DeGod, you're going from 0 to 10,000 followers on Twitter. And then we do that for other projects. So for example, for Kleno, we tell Kleno guys to buy a DeGod, get to 10,000, and then we like the Kleno can then share and get impression and distribute the Kleno IP and stuff. So that's cool. I love that.
I mean, think about it like this, right? Like, and this is just me riffing, right? And maybe it's an idea that they steal, who knows, right? But we already have it right now to where like through DID, if you confirm your DID profile, you get an automatic follow from the DeGods account, right? What if that turned into you getting an automatic follow from the DeGods account and like every DeGod that's opted in to follow all DeGods? And now all of a sudden you get a DeGod and like your shit just like exponentially increased. I think the only thing that they would have to do is like probably implement some sort of unfollow if that person were to like sell their DeGod right away or like anything like that. But like could be a cool feature, right? And so it's like it might not be 10,000, but like even just getting 1,000 new followers in one day, kind of crazy.
Massive. Bro, if you go from 0 to 5,000 in a week, that can take you 6 months during a bear market. So
100%. I think there's definitely a lot of cool ways where they can take advantage again of just like the hype and attention that they're able to capture. And do some, different types of growth things and all different types of media. I think there's an aspect of like being able to create really, really dope content and put on like people that are creating content from within the community. I think there's ways to continue to obviously like partner with these really good protocols, secure airdrops, rewards, help those companies get new users and people that want to be part of their ecosystems. And just like continuing to just like throw shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. I think it's just going to be an exciting year, man. It's going to be an exciting year. Like, the energy from the DeGods community is up. The energy from the team is up. Frank is in his bag. Bro's got a mustache. Like, like
he's wearing Apple Vision at the airport, shit like that.
Like on the team, like, aside from Frank, I've had like an opportunity to like really work with like a lot of just dope people within the team itself, right? Like shout out to Chills, CTO, like always been holding it down.
Base Bob, bro, is undervalued. Base Bob is it's so cool.
Base Bob, like the homie, you know what I'm saying? Serious Sam, Leonard, all them like people holding it down. I've gotten a chance to like work with Jerry. I've gotten a chance to work with Malcolm pretty close. He's been doing a lot of the BD stuff. I've obviously like been working with Aaron closely, like since the Decod3rs stuff. And so just like, I kind of like do get the ability to like just have conversations and see it from different angles and see certain things through and have those conversations. And it's good when it's just like you're feeling that energy like from them, also just up and exciting and hungry. And that's all I could really just like continue to harp on, is just the fact that like the energy is just there, right? That the energy feels like it's being injected back into the community, back into the team, and like we're ready to fucking do some crazy shit this year. So
no, 100%. I mean, they are the best when they are like together, like not showering for 6 months, living in the same house and ordering Uber Eats. That's what we want, bro. That's how you like.
But like 2.0, you know what I'm saying? Like 2.0, you know what I'm saying? Like,
okay, you can take shower, fair enough. Okay,
you can take showers. People kind of spread out a little bit. You got people with girlfriends, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
what? They have what?
Hey, listen, man.
Yeah, I know. But like, I mean, like, but it's a mindset.
You got about time.
No, of course. No, but like it's a mindset more like just like staying together at the same place, not showing. It's a mindset of like, okay, no, like
locked in. Literally.
Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. And okay, because we're gonna slowly wrap it up because bro, it's a 1 hour chit chat, man. Can you believe that? Okay, is there anything that you're not agree with Frank? Like a take that he has and you don't either like don't understand it or don't see it, or like you not agree with it?
A take that I don't agree with. I mean, I think the biggest thing like throughout has just been like how he handled the whole like leaving of Solana. I think that was like one of the main things that, like, like I didn't agree with, right? Like as far as like the tweet and like obviously the video and everything like that. I think some of it gets blown out of proportion. And I think, like in history, like I think that's like kind of one of the main things. All the other stuff, I'm kind of like, there's a certain degree where it's like I could agree and disagree, but at the end of the day, like he has a different understanding of the project
100%
than holders have, than even like some of the people like around the ecosystem, whoever like on the team, etc. have. I think he just has like a different understanding of things that he sees and the vision that he wants to see through. And for me, it's more so just about like, I mean, I trust him to like make the right decisions and pivot when needed and whatever the case is, right? Like, I probably say like going silent for as long as he did, probably wouldn't agree with that as well. But also understand it from a standpoint of just like, now when we're talking, it's like, listen, like was going through a lot of shit. Clearly, like, person leaves the company, but that a person being a executive, like you can only imagine what that kind of process looks like. And if bruh's in a spaces one night and he accidentally leaks something or like says something about it, like leverage could be changed. You never know, right? And so it's things like that where it's like, you may not agree with how certain things get handled, but know that there's most likely a reason for it. And I think just like me knowing like how like from this point, like me just knowing like kind of almost how calculated he is to a certain degree, obviously not all the time, like like obviously clearly sometimes Frank has his little like I'm going
super slope
rogue. But aside from that, like I think knowing that there's an aspect of just being able to like trust that the right decisions are going to be made, and if something does come up, it's like I don't agree with this, or like with the art, for example, I didn't like the S3 art, like I didn't personally like it for me. I personally would have kept the muted luxury. I think they should have just like moved forward with that and not done the whole side thing. I think they should have just like completely launched it, full sent it. But you live and you learn, right? And it's just like it is what it is. We're getting V1.1 now. I've always liked DeGods art anyways. My shit didn't change at all. I didn't have
me neither.
I mean, it is what it is, but like, I've continued to rock that PFP anyways, because to me, it's like almost timeless at this point. And if like the 3.33 art looks fucking great, then like, yeah, I'll upgrade to it. If not, like, I'm gonna keep my DeGods art. It is what it is. I do think there was other S3 art that did look good. I just think from just the standpoint of like wanting to change from like the muted luxury, and then we got like the color pop. I think they should have just full sent the muted one. But like I said, because like it is hindsight is hindsight. At the end of the day, like, I do, trust him to continue like making decisions, and I don't expect him to shoot 100% when he's making these shots, but like I do expect that he'll be shooting a high clip, and DeGods back on top. TLDR, DeGods on top. That's what it is. That's what it's about.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the only thing where we know how to do well, right? Getting on top. Did once, we can do it twice.
Pause. Hey, you got a shot, you got a beer, you got anything around you like quick that you can get? Do you drink? I don't even know.
What?
Do you drink at all?
Oh, yeah, I drink. Oh, for Shui? Oh shit, I forgot.
Either a Shui or a shot.
No, I don't have anything at home.
No.
No. Oh shit. Next time, bro. Okay. Wait. We're gonna run that because I love this format. It's cool. And we should do something with the contributors, like the guys. We should do monthly show or something like that. That could be cool.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool. I honestly like definitely like I would love to set up for you to talk to some more of them too if you're looking for.
Nice. Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
Dave, I try to have Candy on the channel. I want to have Chill and stuff, but those motherfuckers are hard to DMs, bro. Yeah. Like, they are famous, bro. They are celebrities.
Yeah, it's comeback time. You know what I'm saying? They're busy.
Yes. So if it's comeback time, they have to come on the channel. Man. Oh, what? Are you getting cut? Okay, no, it's fine. Okay, cool. Bro, I don't want to take more of your time because, like, you have a lot of shit to do. But yeah, thank you so much for your time again. Thank you, everyone in the chat. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'm happy to see a couple of people here because I told them you can sell your decoders if you're not showing up on the show. So they're here. That's cool. Thank you, Sonny. Thank you so much. And let's chat in the DM to see where we can create content and stuff. It's going to be nice.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, bro. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
See ya.